Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 3 different ways to bleach dye clothing. This is not different ways to bleach dye, but it's actually different folds you can use on the clothing to make different patterns. So the one I'm wearing right now is actually a spiral design and I made it for this video, so you will see how I made this in the video. And of course I'll show more of it later because right now you can only see from this up. But yeah, it's a spiral design and there's a couple other designs, but I wanted to actually take 3 articles of clothing that are different colors, that are different items. So like this is a sweater, I also have a dress and a crop top with long sleeves, and they're all different colors. So I decided to take those for the video and to transform them with bleach dye so that you could see which design looks like what and how I achieved that. I also want to say that I'm going to include pictures of other bleach dye creations that I've made over the past couple of months because 2020 has been hellish and this has brought me joy. So anything that brings me joy I'm clinging to, including bleach dyeing clothing. So I have bleach dyed a lot of my clothes and I'm going to include pictures of them along with what the fold that I used was at the bottom in case you want to recreate that. But before I get started on the different folds that you can use to achieve different designs, let's start with what you actually need. So you're going to need rubber bands, a flat surface, some sort of container to hold the bleach water mixture in, and you're going to need bleach and you're going to need water. You'll also need to wash and dry these clothing afterward, so whatever your method of normally washing and drying your clothes is will work. So first up, you're going to need a bleach water mixture. So you're going to need 50% bleach and 50% water. So if you're using a cup of water, you also need a cup of bleach. You don't want to use straight bleach. I mean, you can if you want to, but you really don't need to because you'll get the effect with bleach and water mixture. You're going to need to put that in some sort of spray bottle or some sort of bottle that has a control top. So I've seen people use ketchup bottles that they like washed out and then they put the bleach water mixture in and then they just squeezed it onto the design. You can also use a spray bottle. You can also use really anything, as long as you have something that has like a controllable top. I've seen people even who are like not having anything around they could use as a last measure, take a water bottle and put the lid on tight and then puncture a hole in the lid and then just use that to control how much bleach comes out. I myself, in a couple cases, just resorted to slowly pouring the bleach on and I had a really great effect on those. So it's going to be up to you to decide what you want to use. You can even try and experiment a bit if you like the spray bottle more than the ketchup bottle option or just dumping it straight on. Okay, the next thing you're going to need to do is pick out your clothes that you want to bleach dye. I mean, you could do this beforehand too, but I want to make a note that if you pick a white shirt or a white article of clothing or a light gray article of clothing, they're not going to create a bleach dye pattern because they are too light. The bleach will just make them look cleaner. Like, it's not actually going to leave any marks. You can use any other color. You can use red, black, green, yellow, pink, purple, all kinds. And I'll show different colors throughout the video that I have bleach dyed so you can see how it creates a really different color in the bleach portion of each one. So like I have one green dress that went yellow and I have another green dress that went pink, so it's really rad. I think it's really cool how it changes like that. So some black, for example, some black goes to orange, some goes to red, some goes to pink, and some go to like a bronze color or even a gray. It's really neat because you don't know what you're gonna get, which is really a lot of the fun for me. So once you've picked out the clothes that you want to bleach dye, you can go ahead and start folding them. So I'm gonna go through 3 different fold styles, and I'm sure there's more out there, but these are the 3 that I've used and have had success with. So one is the spiral fold, and this is something that you probably have seen if you've seen anyone wear tie-dye or bleach dye clothing. It's where you take a certain part of the fabric and begin to twist it around your hand so that the whole entire article of clothing becomes a spiral. And then you're going to want to wrap this tightly with rubber bands, and you're probably going to want to have like 4 of them, making almost like a pizza shape out of the spiral. So you want to be able to see the spiral coiled in the design, and then it's going to be like a little round loaf almost, like it's going to be thick and compact and perfectly round. At least that's what you should try to achieve. If you want to have a design that has multiple spirals in it, you can do that. If you want to have a design where the spiral starts more high up than it does in the center, or you want to have a spiral that starts lower, that's fine too. You can start the spiral wherever you want. A lot of people start from the center so that it has like a big wide spiral coming out from the design, but that's totally up to you, and you can do multiple spirals like I said, so it's really up to you. Be creative as you want with it. No matter what, it's not really going to get messed up because bleach dye on clothing looks cool regardless. So when it comes to bleaching the spiral design, what you want to do is make sure that you get enough bleach in the middle, because that is where the spiral is going to be focused. This is something I've had issue with because the spiral is tightest in the middle, and then as it pans out is where the fabric is going to be more loose. So you want to make sure that you have the bleach in the center. Doing too much obviously will ruin the spiral. Doing too little will mean there's no spiral. So just have fun with it. Don't be feeling like you're pressured to get it right or anything, but just remember that you put bleach evenly on the outside, but then also more on the inside. Make sure you do both sides of the article of clothing, otherwise you'll have just bleach dye on one side. Next up is the sporadic fold, which basically just means you're gonna bunch up the article of clothing and wrap rubber bands around it. Like, there's literally no method to this madness. It is just bunching up the article of clothing and then making sure that like you're moving it in different directions and just bunching it up. Like, it's literally as it sounds. It's very sporadic with no rhythm, rhyme, or reason. So then when that is bunched up, you just put a bunch of rubber bands around it, and it doesn't have to be in any particular order as long as everything's being held together. And then you just put bleach on it wherever you'd like, and then you make sure you do the other side, and then you're good to go. The last one is the stripe fold. The stripe fold is a little bit complicated with a dress because a dress gets wider usually as it goes down, so it can get hard to make that fold happen easily. But basically what you do is you take the design and you make a fold, and then you flip that a little bit back in on itself, and then you fold again. So you want it to be like an accordion almost, so it has zigzags all the way down, and then you bunch that up in rubber bands like every couple of inches to make sure that the design holds together long ways, because you want to be able to see the zigzag pattern, and you want to be able to put bleach on it in that way so that it will actually create the stripes. So as you can see, I'm applying bleach. I do it to the entire surface of both sides, and then I also do it a bit on the sides just to make sure I'm not missing out anything. Once that's done, you can set all of the designs aside and leave them sit for at least an hour. I usually do an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, but you really don't need to go that much longer. Like, you'll see the color lift like literally the moment the bleach touches the design. The longer you leave it, yes, some more color will come out, but after a while it's not really going to make that much of a difference. So if you leave it for an hour and a half, you're good to go. You're going to want to rinse one article of clothing at a time, and you're going to want to rinse in cold water until the color leaves. For some of the clothing, the color is just drained out immediately, like the water comes clear. Then for other articles of clothing, the color is going to leach out a lot. So you just want to do that until the water runs clear or mostly clear, and then you're going to want to toss each article of clothing in the washer by itself, or you can wash by hand if that's your preference, and then you can dry them. So you just kind of treat it like you would normal clothing after that. And then you can take them out of the dryer and survey your creation. So here's how the spiral fold turned out. Here is how the sporadic fold turned out. And here's how the stripe fold turned out. I'm also going to include some pictures now on the screen of different bleach dye creations that I've made. And I'll also include which fold I used, like in text, so that you can see what they look like and how I achieved them. So that is how I bleach dye clothing. I hope that you found that helpful, and I hope that you have a lot of fun with it. That's the whole purpose, right? Is to take some clothing that, you know, could look even cooler and make it look cooler, but also having fun at the same time. Don't be hard on yourself if you don't like a design. It'll look rad, I promise. Like, the moment you just put it on, you'll just immediately feel rad. I don't know what it is about bleach dye clothing, but it's just so cool. So don't fret too much, don't worry, just have fun with it. This is like an artistic process. And if you want to try it on clothing that you're not particularly fond of first, so you can see if you get the hang of it, that's always good to do. But at the same time, you could just jump right into it. Like I said, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be fine. I think you'll have a good time with it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one for whatever it may be, because I post all different kinds of stuff on this channel. Bye!